right. Welcome everyone to another episode of The Candy Show. I'm your host, Candy. We have another special guest in the building. Seasoned, veteran, singer, songwriter, producer, musician. Guys, I want you to welcome Triple OG Pops is in the building. Yay!
How y'all doing?
Welcome. How are you today?
I'm excellent. Couldn't be better.
Good. Now, here at the Candy Show, we like to take it on back. So you ready to take it on back? Let everybody know who Pops is?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So I heard through the grapevine that you were part of a band back in Columbus, Ohio.
Yes. Sure was.
Well, tell us about how did that come about? And first of all, before we even go into that, where are you coming from today?
Sacramento, California.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. How's the weather out there?
Today's smoky because the fire's about 60 miles away, but other than that, I love it out here.
Nice. Okay. And tell us about your transition to California. You just recently moved from Columbus. Am I correct?
No, not recently. I moved recently with St. James out here in Sacramento because I lived in another small city called Merced, California with an older brother for about 7-8 years. And St. James got me out here working with him.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the history of Pops.
Okay.
Pops, you were part of a group,
right,
back in the 70s, correct?
Yes. Band called the.
Tell us a little bit about. Go ahead.
I was in a band called the Crowd Pleasers. The band started originally. My sister June, who's not with us right now, she's passed away, but she started the band a long time ago, owned the name and everything. Had a twin brother in the band one time, an older brother that played saxophone in the band. So we were like, out of 7 of us, there was 4 of us that was related. So it was kind of cool. And we played all over Columbus. We were a house band at 2 different places, Ohio State campus, you name it. We were pretty big in Columbus, Ohio. And it eventually turned into something where my sister had to come off the road. My brother moved to LA, and he got in the band with Janis Joplin back in the day, a big rock star back in the day. He played bass. He's like a Larry Graham back in the day. My twin brother was. But after that transition, my sister came off the road because she had kids. I kept the band going, had different people in the band, had a keyboard player. I didn't tell St. James this. Had a keyboard player that wrote Never Too Much for Luther Vandross, named Skip Anderson.
Wow.
Yep. And then Junie heard about our band. Junie from Ohio Players. He heard our band, and his manager called me up one day, called us at the club we was rehearsing at in Columbus, and said Junie wanted to meet with us. He's looking for a band. So we became Junie's band.
And those who do not know who Junie Morrison?
Yeah, Junie Morrison.
Is?
Yeah, he's a legend. He went from Ohio Players, wrote Funky Worm, and the first hit he did with him was Pain is in My Heart, tearing us apart. Junie wrote that. Then he went on after he left us. He said one thing he told us, the label that he was on, do not sign with him because they're not going to take care of it. And he was right. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I'm going to interject real quick. Now, let's, just again, for a lot of people who don't know, back in the 70s, around the late 70s, right, Ohio was popping. They had a lot of the bands back then.
Oh, yeah. Slave, Heat Wave, Ohio
Zap.
Players, Zap.
OJ's?
Yeah, OJ. Zap was a friend of mine. I knew Zap well. Who's that other group? Not this. Other than Slave, there was another one. Not Ohio Players. Like the same time Slave was out. Lakeside.
Yes.
Midnight Star. That's how I met Babyface was in my band too. I hired Babyface back in the day.
Well, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Let's
Right.
stay with the let's stay with your band.
Okay.
Now, you and your band, you were playing local
Bars.
gigs, and all of a sudden someone discovered you, or excuse me, let me say, Junie
Junior.
wanted you guys as his preferred band.
Yeah, he wanted
Okay.
to go on the road because we were playing clubs in Michigan. I know Magic Johnson. We used to play. We played at Magic Johnson prom back in the day before I got with Junie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Magic
Oh,
Johnson,
wow.
and we went on the road, and Junie was playing some of the clubs that we had to get started.
And this was approximately what year?
In like 1977, because our album came out in 79, and we was with Junie, only for a year or more. He got a season, broke then, man, and that's how it started, because the label he was on was Westbound Records out of Detroit. And they eventually, while Junie had us in the studio, we got to know them really well. The man that owned the label, they really had a lot of money. They put a lot of money on our players. They had Parliament Funkadelic, Dramatics, people like that. So they had bread. They were like a small Motown.
Now, again, I like to take people back. The transitioning period. Upon my research, I just want to make sure that my research was correct. You guys were with Junie. You were his preferred band, and something had happened. There was a transition that was out of your control that happened to where you guys no longer were Junie's backup band, but eventually you did sign with Westbound. Do you care to share that particular incident?
Yeah, what happened was basically Junie, we had I think we had an accident, and Junie got really, really, really hurt really bad and was hospitalized, and so was the bass player. Our bass player wasn't hurt as bad as Junie, but Junie got hurt really bad, and he was hospitalized for a long time. So our bar gigs began to, dry up because we weren't performing or anything, So eventually, once Junie healed, he got out of the hospital. We had equipment. Junie had all the equipment and everything. So me and a couple of guys went to Dayton, Ohio, which wasn't far from Columbus. Took Junie his equipment, and we didn't want to see it happen. But Junie, he told us, man, you guys can't stop, So we had to continue on. And eventually after that, in the meantime, before that, Junie told us not to sign the record label because they ain't gonna treat you right. And he was right. Eventually, hindsight, but we signed with them anyway. We were advised not to. There were 6 of us, and I believe in being democratic. 4 of the guys were younger. Me and the sax player were older, so we were outvoted. So they wanted to, oh, this is it. Like St. James always says, some artists think, oh, we got a song out, we got an album out, oh, we're gonna make it big. No. They wanted.
You guys had, what type of deal did you sign with Westbound?
It was 3 years for 5 years, but they had 5 years to 3 years. They had 2 year. They had that option.
And eventually, you guys only put out 1 album, correct?
Yes, and they were only obliged to take us in the studio to record. And we signed, like I was saying, we signed a contract that we were advised not to because they didn't give us any publishing.
Well, with that, you did have a success on one of your songs.
Yeah, we did. Freaky People, we did. It hit Billboard with 88 with a bullet in 79. That's when the album came out. That was the first single off the album.
So I had a chance. Go ahead.
And I wrote it. It was a 15-minute song. It wasn't about nothing. I wasn't singing. Yeah,
I had a chance to actually listen to the entire album, and you guys had four. You had actually two sides, A and B, 4-on-4, four
yeah,
on each side.
right,
Now, again, I want to make sure that my research turned out to be correct. You wrote half, or you contributed to the writing half of the songs, correct?
correct. Right, I
Awesome.
was on all the songs. I mean, like we got now, we got an awesome producer right now. Back in the day, that does all of our stuff with St. James out here. But back in the day, Westbound had a stable of writers too. And I don't know, back in the day, there was a guy named Ray Parker Jr. from radio. He had a guitar player named Leroy Emanuel. He was the same thing. Our producer is out here now with St. James. He had a lot of instrumentals. So the first song he played for us was the music to Freaky People. So we went in the studio, a couple days, the rhythm section laid the parts down. They brought musicians in, da 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 da, laid the music down. So the last session was finished for us, the music. They took us out to eat, the label did. Okay, guys, we're gonna drop you off at the hotel. We'll pick you up. Who wants to go to the bar? And all the guys wanted to go to the bar. And I said, no, man, we gotta, we need to work on this track. Nobody wanted to work on the track but me. So I stayed in the hotel and wrote these crazy, silly lyrics like, I can tell by your head you've been sleeping in Bernie's bed. Are you freaking? So,
Now, I listened again to that song. Now I have a question. Now that song came out when? Came out in '79?
Yes.
All right. So I listened to the song. There is a 70 a year. 74 is referenced in the song. So I have a question about that. When exactly was the lyrics to that song wrote? Was it in 74 and it didn't get put out at the 79, or you just threw 74 because it rhymes?
I threw 74 because it rhymed, because it had to do with, I forget exactly. You asked me, and I knew off the top of my head, back in 74, and I've known you since 74, and you're still a boy. If you're freaky, you are too. Baby, let me freak with you. That's how that went. Super silly.
Now tell me, how was it a little bit back in the day as far as with you guys coming out of Ohio with, again, all of the other bands that were coming out of Ohio? Listening to the sound, the entire album, I kind of noticed a little similarity in some of the other sounds that were out there as well. So am I correct in hearing that?
Yes, we tried to be as much, original as we can, but it's hard because we, how you listen to other artists, and you take a piece. Everybody taking a piece from here, piece from there, from everybody. It's like a melting pot of souls all over the world. So that's the way it was as far as Columbus, Ohio. The funk, you know what I'm saying? Ohio funk. They used to call us Ohio funk back in the day.
Now you have ties. Now I stopped you earlier, but I want to go ahead and get back into that. You have some ties here to Indianapolis, Indiana, which is where Candy Show is at.
Oh, for real? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we played in Indianapolis before the bar. We played in Indiana a lot. Man, Indianapolis. That's the home of Kenny Edmonds. You want to hear a true story?
Please do. I always love to hear backstories of people that come from the hometown. So tell us a little bit about it.
Here we go. Now, I was good friends with Midnight Star's manager, Pablo Davis, who's rest in peace, who was manager of Midnight Star. No parking, baby, no parking on the dance floor. That was one of their big hits. Kenny wrote songs for them. Slow Jam, tell me that slow jam. Yeah, make it sweet. Kenny wrote that. So I was looking for a guitar player that sang and played guitar. So after a couple months, Pablo said, maybe a month went by. Pablo said, hey, Al, he called me up. I got somebody for you. I said, okay, who is he? He said, a guy named Kenny Edmonds. He lives in Detroit. In Annapolis. So he said, here's this number. You call him up, man, he's available. I said, really? He said he sings, he plays, he's phenomenal. So me and the saxophone player, we went out and picked him up. Indy went not that far from Columbus, right? Picked him up. Man, we met him and went in the house. No, the first time we met him, he came out the house because we had to go back in. He came out the house with this big guitar. He weighed about 95 pounds. The guitar case was bigger than him. Me and three of the guys in the band, there's four of us, looked at this kid coming out of there and said, what this kid gonna do? So man, before that, we met his mom. His mom used to do all our Jerry carols. 7 guys. I forgot what she worked. She may have did it at her house once, but she used to do 7 guys' hair whenever we was off the road. All our Jerry carols. His mother, she's so nice. We met Kevin and Melvin, his brothers. They were working in factories. He said they're in factories right now, Al, but my brothers can blow, man. And so once I get over, one thing he told me, I'm gonna bring them and pick them up. So anyway, we got on the road. He came out. He also, I didn't tell Saint this, he also had a keyboard player. I needed a keyboard player that I was looking for also. His neighbor was the keyboard player. So Kenny says, come on, I know a guy right down the street. So we got the keyboard player too at the same time. We headed to Columbus, and it's history, man. Kenny, I gave him every job he wanted. I didn't have a job for him except play guitar and sing. But once he opened his mouth, he played the guitar, he flipped it for a left-handed player. And he started playing the guitar left-handed and started singing. And all the guys in the band, our mouths just flew open. He was just crazy, phenomenal. So I said, hey, whatever you want to do. You know, him and I would talk sometimes. I said, man, what do you think about, the moves we got? He said, yeah, you guys move okay, but we could do better. I said, okay, you're in charge of that. So whatever Babyface, well, he wasn't Babyface then. I said, man, Kenny, whatever you want to do, if you don't mind, do it, man. And hooking up with Pablo. Pablo had Midnight Star doing exercise every day. When on the road, and fruit. You had to eat fruit, apples, oranges, grapes. So Kenny got us doing exercise, trying drum machines. He said, there's 7 of us, so we got to write a hit out of. That was his philosophy. He loved writing songs. And people tell me today, hey, man, call Kenny, man. And I said, no, man, I ain't going to be no stalker. Kenny got to where he is because of who he is and what he's accomplished. It's his time, man. I ain't going out there. I met him a couple of times. He was gracious and stuff. But I'd like to hear about me here. I'd like to hear him, let him hear about me now being with St. James out here at 77. Doing
77.
doing the music I'm doing. St. James got me polished out here, and I'm happy. Now that's that. Now whatever else you want me to back up, or whatever else you want me to do or say, I got you.
Thank you. I appreciate that story.
Yeah.
It's always important to tell people and share where people came from, because a lot of times it's important. Your history is important.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now, during the worldly shutdown, what made you come out and say, you know what? I think it's time for us to do a song.
As far as the worldly shutdown,
yes, this worldly pandemic.
Well, see, I've been out here with St. James for 2 years, so we've been writing songs. I have a 6-song EP that he's produced, the team and him, but mainly him. And Simple Man, the song, is the first single off the EP, the first video. So he's been grooming me, and they beat me up in the booth, in the studio. So I've learned a lot. I mean, there are a couple of students when I was going to college in Merced, California, that I was teaching how to write their lyrics and do their harmonies and vocal work and stuff. myself. But when I came out here with St. James and his team, it was totally different once I got in the booth because I never sang the way they got me singing now. It was a challenge.
Mm.
But one thing Saint told me, he always says, Pops, just believe the process. It's hard work, but you can do it. And that's one thing about him. When he believes in you, you got to believe in you, because if he believes in you, you know, if he believes in you, that's all I got to say, because he's doing it out here. And that's why I'm glad to be where I'm at right now.
Tell us about what made you choose the title Simple Man. I like the song. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Well,
welcome.
well, that's me basically. We was talking the other day. I was telling St. James, and we were talking to another person, because that's me. I believe in simple things, you know, simplicity, and the words in that song came from me easy because I'm very humble, and I believe that's the things I would like to say that's to a woman that I might meet. I mean, I've been through relationships, a couple marriages, but that's just still the way I feel if I met that one, even at my age right now. Those words I would say to them, like, when the last time you heard a man say to a woman, I want to hold your hand? Can I walk you home? You know, never. You don't hear that. So that's where I got it from. And I thought it would be something really unique and honest, because that's how I felt at the time too when I was writing it. The music led me there. First of all, we have an awesome producer. So the music led me there as I began to write. And the first thing I do, I write my title first. Then I draw from the title, say, wow, a simple man. What can I talk about a man that simple things that a man would do for a woman? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And it just came to life.
Now, you keep mentioning St. James. So first of all, a shout out to St. James and the team over there. Your production team, the marketing team.
Lisa English.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Lisa. St. James. St. James was on the show once before. I want to say thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to come into your dad's space and get to know him.
Ow.
Thank you so much. Yes, say it again. Do that again. Ow.
Ow.
Now, his team, his meaning St. James team, were they all involved in the production? Were you a little bit hands-on?
No. As far as me singing to the track, yeah. Writing the lyrics, yeah. As far as producing me, I got to give it up to St. James. Ivan Johnson Sr., the producer. Kaleo Ross, it's St. James co-writer. But number one, we can't leave out Brian Porter, our engineer. He make that sound. He has the ears he's worked with. He got a Dove Award for Smokey Norval. He got an award for Smokey Norval.
Oh, wow.
He is a beast, and St. James swears by him. We don't swear, but it's the truth. Brian Porter. I'm going to let everyone, like St. James does, Brian Porter is why we sound the way we do on the mixes.
Now, with that being said, I'm glad you actually brought that up. I listen to music, and I'm wanting to know, what is the direction of your entire project? We're going to have some old school, new school, or we're going to have a little merge. Tell me about that.
Well, it's a mixture of music that fits me. You know, my age and hopefully, you know, younger. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, we don't want to be in a box, but I can't be sounding like these young kids either, trying to sing the trap beats. So, like the next song, it's called "Are You Freaky?" The next video, St. James took it to our producer, Freaky People, that you heard, and the producer reproduced it. So he took some Ohio funk, Freaky People, with some West Coast funk with St. James, and we call it "Are You Freaky?" And it's smoking. Wait till you hear that one. Then,
Okay.
then there's one called Technology. These two, we'll be doing 2 videos in October. "Are You Freaky?" and Technology.
Will your songs be more like a love, romance ballad? Will we have some dance?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's 3 slow ones, and "Are You Freaky's" funky, Technology's kind of funk, a little popish. We even doing a "Lovely Day," old Bill Withers remake. Cover. All right, a cover song that turned out really good, and 3 slow ones. So it's 3 and 3. So it's balanced. It's balanced out. But I think people, if you like Simple Man, I think people will feel it.
Now, was Simple Man also a little bit of a merge? Now again, I'm hearing sounds, and so I wanted to see if I'm correct on this. I'm hearing some little bit of a different song in the beginning. I'm hearing a familiar song in the beginning of Simple Man. So was that also a little bit of a version of another song?
You mean the music?
Yes. Or was it an original produced track?
It's original produced track, but elements maybe of era, but it's hard to detect. But no samples or anything. Our producer, it's original track, yes. But like I said earlier, it's hard to get away from. It's like writing lyrics or melodies sometimes. Just like it is when somebody compose, they're gonna touch a little bit, hopefully not, and get sued. But you just got to be careful. Like Ray Parker Jr., for instance, taking you back, he did a song that sounds just like Sly and the Family Stone. He had a song called "Stand." Da 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 da. Da, 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 stand. That was Sly. Ray Parker Jr. had a song called "Jack and Jill." It went Jack and Jill, but that same kind of melody. Jack, da, 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 but a lower tone. So
okay.
He kind of not stole from Sly, but it was kind of similar. But he had it in a different key, and it was lower. So people still do that today.
I often listen to a lot of music because where we're at today musically, a lot of people have took from other eras, which is great to me, and so that's what I continue. I usually hear a song and I'm like, oh my gosh, this sounds like this song a little bit, but then you can definitely tell that there's a whole total different vibe. Like you might have a little snippet of what it might sound like, but it clearly is not a duplication of that particular song. So I thought the same thing with Simple Man, and I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, the music it's original, but the music it's set in that era too,
Well, I am so glad that you're contributing right now to what's going on. We need this kind of music back.
Yes.
Need some romance, need some smoothness. And that's what I see in pop. I see nothing but smooth.
That's right. Smooth as the baby.
With everything going on from where you were back in the day, back in the 70s versus now, what's one major thing that has you more comfortable with coming back out right now?
It's what's missing in the music industry to a point, and nowadays the music. I don't listen to the music that's out there. It's hard to listen to because they're not talking about anything. And for one thing, you can't understand them. Then they got all the auto tune on themselves. Now, don't get me wrong. I think any artist that's trying to do something and to be out there in the public, most of them have some talent and are talented. Don't get me wrong. I respect all artists out there trying to survive in this industry, but it's hard. But the music that's out there today, and it's mostly hip hop. You know, I like some of the artists out there, you know, I like some of the females out there, her. But once you get past her, before her, there was Ella May, there was Kehlani, there was Janae Aiko. They all sound alike. They all sound similar because so I'm tired of that sound. So I don't really like anybody out there right now, female. But I got to go back to like Donny Hathaway, Luther, and you know, Jackie Wilson, way back. Jackie Wilson, Donny Hathaway, Marvin Gaye, St. James. You know what I'm saying? Charlie Wilson, you know what I mean? Stokely, I love Stokely from Mint Condition, you know. Joe Thomas. I mean, but the music today, like I said, I give them props. They're doing what they feel, and it's coming from their heart. But I never thought I'd hear the Migos on Motown.
Are you contributing to your project with any of the musician playing?
No.
You were playing some music. You were playing some instruments back then. So
yeah, no. Don't play horns anymore. No. I mean, I'm really constant. St. James really got me concentrate on my writing, you know, and that's what and my singing, and that's my forte. And even before that, I stopped playing horn for a long time ago. So that's what I concentrate on now, just lyrically and melody wise, harmony wise. That's what I know that I can do decent. So that's my lane. You know,
I love your voice.
Thank you. If I got my own lane, you know why? Ain't nobody else in it.
Come on now. Come on now. Is there anything that you want to let everyone know about your project? What to soon be looking out for before we end today?
Yeah, you can be looking out for like songs I mentioned to you that's coming out. Are You Freaky? Video in October, technology video in October, then the song called Lovely Day, a cover song called You Need to Know, original song, then another song called Now You're Gone. So 6 songs, 6 bangers, three medium happy songs, and 3 ballads.
Where are you interested in performing? Are you interested in performing when we can really safely, really all get out there? Are you interested in getting on the stage with a full band? Are you gonna be doing some moves? Tell me what we can look forward to.
Whatever St. James set up, and you know, of course, it's got to be safe, you know, and it's got to be right and feasible to do it, you know, because real quick. When we were on the road pushing crowd pleasers, freaky people, we'd go to do some shows. You know, we opened up Temptations before, 4 Tops on the show, Chic. You know, Chuck Brown. Feel like busting loose. Feel like back in the day, Howard University. We did some things like that. Tower Power 3 times. War. We did a lot of things open up for people. But you know, we were doing. They call them disc jockey jobs. Like we drove from Columbus, Ohio to New Orleans for $1,800. But when we got there, the promoter, we opened up the trunk of his car. We never saw so many of our albums. And the big records, you know, 75 back in the day, and the 8 tracks. Real quick, the Westbound Records was a small label. Guy had a lot of money, but they didn't have nobody checking on these people they were sending these cash to. So whenever we did gigs, the promoters were taking all that money and not doing their job. That's another reason I think we got shafted to it. And that's another story.
Mm. You know that's still happening.
It is.
Oh yeah, it is. It's not ever going to stop. It's called streaming now. Sad.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Is there anyone that you want to shout out before we end?
St. James for one. St. James, number one. Gotta be. Lisa English, number two. The team. You know, Ivan Johnson, senior producer. Brian Porter, engineer. Cleo Ross, exceptional writer with St. James. They're like, I call them pen and paper, like L.A. Reid and Babyface. You know, and there's another friend out here, musician, that worked with us, Tony Mosley. I want to send a shout out to Tony Mosley. And I can't forget about, really number one is God, but my family.
Ooh, come on.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate your time, Pops.
I appreciate
I
your
know
time.
you gotta. Well, thank you. Oh, okay.
Where you live?
Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay. It was a pleasure.
Hopefully we can get to meet soon when
Hopefully.
it's safer.
When it's safe, I'd love to. Play Simple Man. Play Simple. Wear Simple Man out. It's streaming on all digital platforms.
Such a beautiful voice, and I am so amazed how your voice is. I mean, you can't tell that the age that you are, you can't tell. Your voice is still intact. So I appreciate that more as well.
Thank you so much. You're making me blush.
Ooh.
You make an old man wish for younger days.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
All right. Well, Pops, thank you so much for tuning in and being a guest on the Candy Show.
Thank you. Have me back anytime. I'd love to come back.
You are so much welcome, and you are so welcome to come back on. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Candy Show. I'm your host, Candy. Bye-bye.
Bye.